One of Louis Liebenberg's alleged victims was scammed out of 150,000 rand and has relayed how he fell prey to the diamond dealer. Let's get those details from our reporter, Ziniko Mhlaba, who joins us live from outside court. Ziniko, good afternoon to you. You join us there as we wait for this appearance to get underway. 4 billion rand is the amount the Hawks has given us insofar as the scale of this diamond scam. 150,000 rand from one victim. What did he tell you about how it happened?
Well, Michelle, that victim that you just referred to is one of many people who lost their sums in terms of their investments in this particular scheme. You'll understand that, and from what we understand, as much as we're here today in court in 2024, in October, you know, Mr. Liebenberg started his operation about 10 years ago, even more, because the very first person, we're talking about met Mr. Mhlaba back then in 2012. That's when they started talking, and there was no transaction that took place immediately after their meeting. It happened 2 years later. That's when Mr. Louis reached out to the gentleman and, of course, just find out whether he still has an interest or not. And, of course, he did say, yes, I am interested, I am ready, as he wanted to increase his finances at the time. So let's take a listen at how exactly did he end up spending a lot of money into Mr. Louis' first interaction. And, of course, this was back in 2012. Let's have a listen.
I met Louis about 8-9 years ago. I met him, and we just had a normal discussion, what you do, what I do, and so. And then he told me that he's in the diamond business, and I thought, okay, you know what it is. He said, no, you know, he sells diamonds, he buys diamonds, whatever the case may be. And most probably after 2 years, he gave me a call and he said, listen, are you still interested? I said, yeah, and that was about 2011, 2012. And then he said, this is how it works, you know, buy a packet or whatever the case may be. And I started investing small amounts. And he promised huge returns on that. You know, you would give him 20,000, he would give you back 60,000. I never got a cent from him, never.
So that's one of the victims, Michelle, who was, you know, who lost a lot of money, over 100,000 to be specific. However, today they are all here looking forward to meeting, you know, the men they entrusted with their money. And of course, one of them we just spoke to just about 30 minutes ago did say to some extent he could not even afford to pay for a burial of his daughter who got sick with cancer. So they're all here inside court today looking forward to seeing the men they also, you know, trusted at some point and of course spend a lot of money on his scheme. So, but there's a level of anger they have. So let's just take a listen again to what this gentleman, you know, said he was looking forward to in this court this afternoon.
No, you'll never get your money back. No, it's wasted. It's greed. Everybody that invested is greed. It wasn't for sound investment purposes. It was for greed. But today I'll have my day with him. Look him in the eyes, come here, you skabanga.
Sure, Ziniko, so that's one victim of this alleged scam. Have the Hawks said anything about just how many victims there are? This is one victim amounting to about 150,000 rand, the scam itself worth 4 billion. How many victims could there be?
So we do not have an exact number, Michelle, from the Hawks in terms of, you know, how many people have been affected. But we do know that the reason why we are here today is because of the court and legal processes that have been taking place in the Northwest Province in Mafeking, where it all, when it was all, you know, exposed that indeed these gentlemen had a network of investors from different provinces. I understand that there is a gentleman who stays in Emelo, just 2 hours away from here. He had invested 2 million rands and he got nothing in return as far as investments are concerned or returns are concerned. There's also a gentleman who is based in the Western Cape who spent just over 1 million rands back then in about 2016 rather. And just like many others, he never got a cent in terms of returns. So to answer your question, there's no number, but we know that the network is spread across various provinces here in South Africa, Emelo, which is in Mpumalanga, here in Broken-Spruit, in Gauteng, Mafeking, the Northwest Province, but also down on the coastal line. That's where we find the Western Cape Province. There are also some victims who fell, you know, to his scam, and of course, they never got their money back. So we'll see then as this court proceeding starts, that's when more details will be shared through the testimonies, but also the evidence that will be put forward by the prosecution team at court alongside the Hawks themselves.
Ziniko, the gentleman you spoke to earlier, who we just heard from a moment ago, he said in that interview that he made a number of deposits insofar as his investment was concerned, and those deposits, those numerous deposits, amounted to over 150,000 rand. He said he was promised returns of thousands here and there, but never received a cent. So I suppose the question is, if you never saw the returns, why continue investing? Did he answer that question?
He did, actually, Michelle. So I think what the suspects have been doing to these vulnerable victims, they will invite you in, they will say invest about 10,000, 20,000 rands. But of course, because that's not a lot of money to take risk with. And of course, if the investment or returns investment are much greater, so they will invest that percentage of about 10%, and then they will get a minimum amount in returns. But then instead of saying that, okay, fine, this was a successful transaction, he will then encourage them to use the very same returns to invest back into the scam. And of course, they'll also go to an extent of saying that you can even add from the profit that you just got, add another 20,000 so that you can see much greater returns in your investment. So that's how then they get to invest as much money as they can. And they are not, they would not be aware then that actually the more money you spend, the less money you will get. So that was the dynamics of his personal story. And this is a gentleman who had also recruited his own family members. His very first daughter was recruited by him to invest in the very same scheme. And unfortunately, they all lost that money as a family.
Textbook Ponzi scheme machinations insofar as the scam is concerned, Ziniko. So the first court appearance is happening today, and we will no doubt get a sense of, once that first appearance is made, we can then name the other suspects. We'll get a sense of who the other suspects are, the other 7 suspects are in this case. But how do you reckon it will unfold today? Will it be quite a quick first appearance?
It might be a quick fix. I've got 2 dynamics that I'm thinking of, Michelle. Looking at the number of suspects that this court will have to deal with. Remember, they'll have to deal with each and every person as individuals. So they won't be processed and handled as a group, because it's different individuals who were involved in different capacity, who play different roles within that scheme. So it might be longer due to that. But because of the time it took for them or for us to get to where we are today, where we know that indeed the court will be sitting, it was because of the long period that it took to process them. Because before you appear in court, you must be processed so that the charges are clarified, the dockets are clarified. So it took a lot of time. That is why we are still not inside court at this point. So I think due to that, it might take longer unless the court says that, guys, we've been having a long morning, so let's postpone so that we finish everything in terms of the admin processes, which must be taken care of before then we can really listen to the issues of bail application. So those are the 2 dynamics. So we cannot really confirm, but those are the 2 scenarios I'm assuming will take place based on what has happened in the past 6 or 7 hours or so.
And what time do you reckon court will get underway today?
So we're still busy with media applications. My colleague Ntokozo is inside handling that business for us. So as soon as that process is done, then that's when we get more clarity in terms of what time exactly these gentlemen and these women will be appearing before the magistrate. So at this point, we do not have the exact time yet.
All right, Ziniko Mhlaba left us there in Bronkhorstspruit. Just as soon as that case does begin, we will take you back there live.